So everybody, this is Katie from the library. If you haven't met Katie before, Katie has been gracious enough to help us sponsor those, so.
That's right.
If you want to say a few words.
We're so happy that you're using our space this morning. I just wanted to tell you a couple things about the library. Trying to gear it towards y'all what we offer for small business owners with our library service. One thing is available with a library card. If you don't have a library card, please see it. Is Data Axle or Reference Solutions. They help gathering. I'm gonna pull it up. These are things I can't memorize. Lets you access business and residential information for reference and research. Another thing, it's not really us, we just help link to it, and it's not Pickens County, it is Cherokee County. However, if you are cross borders or you're working with people in Cherokee County, it would also be very helpful. It is called, Size Up Cherokee. They make powerful, industry-specific market research and business intelligence available to help you and your business succeed. They also have small business advisors. So yes, please come to the library card with us today, and please excuse our crowdedness with our community art showcase. It's not typically up, at least it's these things to look at in this crowd. I hope y'all have a good meeting. Thank you.
Katie, yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right, let's get started. We have a real full agenda today, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all, welcome. For those of you, I see a lot of familiar faces. My name's Dave Terry with the SBDC. So I am extremely excited to have everybody here today. Again, we've got a tight agenda with a lot of things that we want to talk about. So to start, our mission, if there's one thing that you leave with today, our mission is to help small business owners and entrepreneurs be sustainable. We want to provide knowledge and tools and resources and education. So that's our mission more than anything. The agenda, I'm going to have a few very short opening remarks, and then I'm going to turn things over to our mayor and city councilmen who have been gracious enough to join us to share City of Jasper survey results that are related to small business. We will then break into 4 round tables to talk about how we can support our local economy. If you want to start to think about which table you'd like to break away into, these are the topics. Local attraction and tourism, how do we retain the existing small business owners that are here, creating quality jobs and affordable workforce housing. We will ask one person to kind of lead and moderate the table discussion and present the top 3 ideas at the end of the roundtable. This is also all going to be recorded by Mary and shared to help with accountability. You know, how do we not just talk about these ideas, but carry through and executing them for the rest of the year? Again, box lunches, thank you Jasper, Jersey Mike's, eat whenever you want. It'll be a working session, working meeting. The next thing, I want to share a personal story around why and purpose. Are some of you, fairly new to Pickens County? I assume some of you are, right? Less than 5 years, less than 10 years. What's the most common question you probably get asked? Where are you from? Are you from here? Are you not? Have you lived here your whole life? Have you lived here 20 years? And that's a fair question, right? So, where my family is from is a very small coastal town in central Maine. A few months ago, we celebrated my grandmother's 99th birthday. And my grandmother's lived in the same house in Maine, was married to a country doctor, and she's lived in the same house for 67 years. She was very much all about community. She was, and still is, the most civic-minded person I've ever met. She is all about paying it forward. She wants her eulogy to be not about herself, but about the impact that she made on other people, the impact that she had on our community. So I am preaching to the choir right now, but we are here because we have a powerful why and purpose. And we're all busy, right? We can find reasons and why not to be here. But if a community, what they wanted to do, when they knew my grandmother was having a legacy birthday coming up, they wanted to do something for her. And my grandfather, the country doctor, was also the on-site doctor for the local college. And her immediate knee-jerk reaction is, I don't want anything. I want to provide for the community. I want to provide for this local college that needs more help than I do. So what did the community do? They raised funds, the family, throughout the year, and I'm proud to say raised over $71,000 in a small central coastal town. Lots of isolation. Winter storms in Maine are hard. The community has to rally together to become more resilient. So when you're thinking about your own why, all of you probably have a personal story around why you want to get involved with the community. So Granny is still going strong, and some of you may recognize this is even more personal for me because my mom lives in Pickens County. She's in the picture, so thanks, Mom. So what does the SBDC do? Part of an initiative that we had that you can take back with you today is a scholarship program. We had a speaker early in the year from Google. She loved the community. She loved the town. She appreciated the support from City Hall and our public officials. And she said, you know what? Your community would be a great qualifier for our scholarship program. We applied. We received 100 scholarships. So we immediately wanted to focus on how can we help small business owners and entrepreneurs level up. This aligns so well with our values, with our mission around education. So we have been on a mission the last few months, and I want to give you an update. I believe every goal should be measurable. You have to have a starting point. So we're holding ourselves accountable to what success looks like. We got 100 scholarships. We know when we invite somebody, they may have a burst of energy or motivation and then become disinterested a week later. So we wanted to invite 200 people for the 100 scholarships that we had. We wanted to set a goal. We have to, in 1 year, in order to be eligible for more scholarships from Google, have 50 certificates complete. We want to try to do 75. So we started a little under 3 months ago, and this is where we are. So we've had some great successes. We've had good engagement. We are trying to draw awareness. Some of you in this room own a business and may not have heard about this. Take it back to your employees. One of the best things you can do for your company culture is invest in the professional growth and development of your team. And when you do that, you get feedback like this. You make an impact. This is from, Leanne Mercer, her hair salon, 36 years, family-owned business. She's recognizing how she has to evolve. She has to embrace digital. Many of you own a brick and mortar store. You're trying to figure out how can you do marketing better. Leanne's doing it. Really grateful. She passed one of the courses. This is Ariana. She works at Station 10 Empanadas. She works to support her family, her mom and dad. She wants to provide a better life for them. So she reached out, extremely grateful. for the free opportunity. This is the kind of impact the SBDC can have. Real quick, so.
He is catfish.
Yeah, I know, right? We have purposely not wanted a lot of structure. We're focused on getting things done. Don't want, bylaws and legalese and things. Yes, eventually we'll get there. We additionally identified a few people to be officers. Happy to announce Julia Ferris, if you haven't met, is going to be joining us as one of the officers moving forward. So, Julia, you want to say hello or let people hear your voice?
Those of you who have worked with me, or I go to the Jasper Business Club, or that I've entered into our directory, know that if you are struggling with a professional social media presence, we do that for free. We'll look at it. We'll tell you what to do. We'll fix up what needs to be fixed up. We'll give you advice on how to post, when to post, how to be seen, and we're here to help small businesses. Our directory is there to keep out competition that doesn't benefit the Jasper Pickens area. And if you haven't been a part of that, that the sole purpose is to help small businesses. I'm a small business. My business is Neurotherapy Centers of America, and I will be opening my clinic soon here in Jasper once I'm able to get that office. But I do have clients here already. So I know what it's like to run a small business, and I know what it's like to do marketing. And this is a perfect fit. John and I have been involved in community service for our entire marriage. So a very, very long time. Everywhere we've ever gone, we get involved, and we're there to help people that need the help the most, and we do that for most of the time for no cost. So
Cool.
We're just here to help.
Awesome. Thanks, Julia. There's one thing all of us in this room have in common. We all have a story that precedes us. Julia is being humbled. I've heard of her story from Jasper Business Club. An amazing story. My challenge for you today, leave this room getting to know at least one other person in this room's story. I promise you'll have a lot more empathy, if anything, if you understand their story. And Julia, again, on behalf, Jasper's our other officer for the SBDC. Jasper's been from the beginning, and he owns Jersey Mike's franchises, Jasper and LJ support Jersey Mike's. We're all volunteers, so I always say, if you want to bring your gripe list, accompany it with solutions as well, because we're here as volunteers to support the community as well. So thanks, Julia. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to hand off to our mayor. Again, extremely appreciative and grateful for him to take time out of his busy schedule to be here and present some data related to small businesses in Jasper. When he is done, this will be very engaging and interactive. We will start to set up the roundtables, and we've got some guidelines here and tips to facilitate the discussion that we will post when Mayor Raffield is done. Okay, so with that said, I can hand off to you.
All right, is that currently sharing on that screen? I can't see it.
Yes.
Have to be my eyes for it. So number one, thank you for letting me be here. My name is Kirk Raffield. I'm the mayor for the city of Jasper. And with us, I'm thankful we have Councilmember Handel with us, Mr. Brandon. So before we get started and dive in, is there anything you want to touch base on while we're here and we have a captive audience?
No, sir, no, not at this time. Happy to add commentary as we go along, and just want to thank you all for coming. It's great to see everyone in this room who are interested for themselves, but also as the community side. So thank you all for your time today.
Awesome. Before I dive in, I brought the progress, which Dan was really happy to see. And I've already read this week's edition of the progress, and there's some items in there, and the SBDC's actually mentioned in the paper this week. And so make sure you're connected to your local outlets for news, whether it's No Pickens, whether it's the progress, whether it's Jasper GADs, whatever those sites are that give you reputable information. Make sure you're plugging in. Every week you'll see something in the paper about the city. Some are highlights that are things that our staff's doing to benefit the community moving forward. This particular edition, you'll see the merchants in downtown say times are tough, but they hope the new park and other change boost sales. I see Mr. Daniel with us, and Mr. Daniel, thank you for being what I would call an anchor in downtown. Our job and our goal, one of our goals as a local government, is to support those of you in the room that have local businesses that are trying to thrive in our community. As the landscape changes, we recognize that as a local government, and so we want to be a good partner. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to highlight a couple of things. Anyone here, I know there's a couple of you here that were at the State of the City at Czech Tech. Anyone that went to that? There's a few of you. So some of the information you're going to see is the same, but there's also added information at the back. We had a survey for our constituents recently, and I want to go over a little bit of those survey results, not the entire depth of them. But what I want to touch base on is small businesses. That's why we're all here. By definition, 99% of businesses in the U.S. are small, and they employ nearly 50% of the workforce. In this week's paper, there's a stat that says that outside of metropolitan areas actually jumps from 50% to 65%. And so, Ms. Rebecca, thank you so much for what you did this morning. I read every word of it. So our community is no different, which is why we have all of you here. The SBDC is a critical component of getting that engagement and that feedback, as well as our chamber, as well as our DDA, all the groups and organizations that you're familiar with. We want to be a good partner. Every time you succeed, our community benefits, and we as a local government want to see that. And so, as a city, we took on a new journey, and it was called Jasper 2045. We have a planning process that's going to help us establish some goals and initiatives that are specific for the city of Jasper. So, by state law, local governments have to have comprehensive planning sessions in place, and that is your county and all your cities, and we have those in place. What this was a city-specific initiative to go through and say for the city of Jasper, in addition to the comprehensive plan as an entire community, what does the city want to accomplish in the next 20 years? What does that look like? So the slide you see is your current city council until January of next year. We have 2 new council members joining us. The planning session that this council went through for 2045 was all about connections. It's all about engagement. How do we get the public to engage with us to give good feedback, critical feedback, to remain on the same page for common goals? And as a friend of small business, we want to do that. And there are a couple of ways that we've already identified. We knew right off the bat there were a couple of ways. Number one is our Main Street downtown area. We have to invest in the heart of our community. That is historically where our community started to thrive from, and we've grown from there. Of course, with that is the Highway Business District. Everyone's familiar with Highway 515, as that has changed over the course of decades. And with that, you have our public safety aspects, our infrastructure, the parks, and then you, our partners in small business. So you look back a few years, and this is Tagall Alley, back years ago when there was no money being spent on this particular area. And then that transitions into when your local government and private partners. Dr. Keller's been a really big partner of ours in the city over years to make sure that areas that are not being utilized for people and for purpose and for economic vitality transition into things like this. So Tagall Alley was a huge transformation, small area, big impact. Events. When you go through and you see all the events, we just had a Christmas parade, which was the best Christmas parade I've ever been part of in all my years of living here. You have your Downtown Lodge, you have Marble Festival. You have all these events that are bringing individuals into our community, into certain areas of our community, all for an impact where our local businesses can feed off of that. We also have recognized in most recent years that there are some areas that needed economic vitality. And so this was the old Lawson dealership on 515. That transitioned over into currently today, and it is not completely built out, about 400 opportunities for employment with different businesses. Most people don't think about the public safety initiatives. So when you think of economic vitality, when you think about small businesses, you need to be able to protect those assets. You want to make sure that you have a safe environment, a safe community. And so we invested as a city into our public safety. Number one is our fire department. You'll see our ISO class rating, which is insurance rates, from a 5.5x to a 3, which is an improvement. So that should help on your insurance rates. And also, we opened a second fire station. And so Station 14 was recently, has a hose cutting, and so we opened that station, dedicated that for better coverage inside the city. And then also our police department, when you look at their equipment that they're utilizing, their zone patrols that they're utilizing, it's a mentality of putting the community first and making sure that we're doing community patrols. So you have public safety, you have the economic vitality, and then you have the parks in our community. And you realize, well, that could be a driver, but isn't. Do you look at that picture and say, that's driving our downtown area as a vibrant destination? They are drivers. They can be. It doesn't mean that they automatically are. You have to invest in them, you have to put the resources to them, and you transition certain areas like Peace Park, you'll see on the left-hand side, and I will give full credit where credit's due. Councilmember Hannah was huge and monumental in getting that conversation started from an area that was not being utilized well to an area now today that is utilized more than ever. In the center, you'll see Thoreau Park, North Wingington, all those parks that we continue to invest in as a city, including our Veterans Park and Lee Newton Memorial Park, which in 2025 saw over $100,000 investment. And people often ask, well, where did that $100,000 go? A lot of it's underground. You'll never see it. It's electrical work, it's infrastructure work. And so those are important aspects that your local government have to take into account is you may not be able to lay eyes on that investment, but you are walking on top of it, and it is pivotal to make sure that we have it. Speaking of what you cannot see in infrastructure, you'll see the totals down in that bottom corner, $20 million on a wastewater plant, $3 million on water and sewer lines, $2 million in rehabbing a plant, and $3 million in a master of litigation. And so all of these items play part of the business world. I want to make sure that businesses have an environment where they can thrive, they have success. You cannot do that without water and sewer. And we're currently and actively working on solutions for the future of our entire community. And you'll see more infrastructure work as we go on. So the roads you drive on, the ditches that are clogged up, all of those matter. Because historically, when you look at what the city's done, up until 2019, throughout history, $27 million in investments. So that's all of the recorded history for the city's $27 million in investments. I came on board in 2018 as a council member. So the status from 2019 to 2024, the short span of time, it's 5 years. And in 5 years, we invested $22 million. So think about that. Historically, 27, decades and decades of investment, 27. Then in 5 years, $22 million. So we're investing heavily, more heavily than we've ever invested before, in what our city and our community can become. We continue to look for ways to invest. So all that's a snapshot from the state of the city, which Amberly, thank you for inviting me and letting me do. Now we want to get into the survey results. Now I'm really happy to report, Dave, have you seen this slideshow before? I had no idea what these 4 topics were, but all 4 of these topics are going to be covered in that survey. So this shows the cohesiveness of what our community is trying to do together and working for everyone's benefit. Survey results from the 2045 reveal that nearly 85% of people found Jasper was favorable for quality of life. And you'll see those tags at the bottom, the cost of living, housing, healthcare, your purchasing power. 85% found our community favorable. That's huge. There were 3 things, and again, this goes back to hopefully what we accomplished today as a group. When we walk out of here, the idea is not a gripe list or a gripe session while we're here. The idea is to come up with solutions and a path forward together that this group can present through your officers to your local government and say, hey, here's what we're working on. Here's what we want to see. The survey results that were came back to us attract higher paying jobs. I believe that's going to be covered in some of the topics today. Attracting new industry. What industry do we want to attract? What are we capable of attracting?
Right.
Improving education opportunities. And at the bottom, it was noteworthy that attainable housing was nearly a tie for 3rd place. Attainable housing. So all of those are topics that you'll probably discuss at your roundtables today. And just know that you're not alone. There may be 30 or 40 people here. There's 500, 600 people talking about this on a daily basis. The desired business types, top 3, from our survey of our community, what do people want to see? They want to see sit-down restaurants. They want to see entertainment venues. They want to see fast casual drive-through restaurants. So I am happy to report there are some sit-down restaurants coming. Some are already here. There are entertainment venues being placed throughout the community. As a matter of fact, this week, Dan, you covered another venue that the county approved for concerts off of Worley. Pro Park is in its stages. It should be completed within the next 12 months. So the entertainment venues are coming, and fast casual drive-through restaurants. That surprised me. Being honest, that surprised me. I thought we had enough. Apparently we don't have enough.
Wait.
Affordable housing, strong concern, 52% agree. Who here thinks we need affordable housing? However, in the survey, the community said apartments and townhomes are the least needed, and they are treated negatively. What is the most affordable and economical housing we can put on the market? Apartments and townhomes. So let's recognize that as a community, as we give that feedback, as we have those raw conversations, we don't want to outcast certain groups of individuals because different generations need different housing opportunities. And so we have to recognize that, yes, we want affordable housing. It will not be a 3,000 square foot house on 2 acres. That is not affordable. So the survey results reveal modernizing and improving our existing infrastructure in our community was more important than increasing capacity for new development. And that is huge. We have been on this topic for a few years now. We as a community, your leaders, recognize what we have in our community is really special. It is really unique, and it is changing. There is diversity occurring with opportunities in our community, and that is a wonderful thing. What we do not want to do is allow expansions or new development to kill what is currently in place. We want to modernize. We want to have what's existing to be better. So the survey results reveal that respondents felt the city of Jasper was responsive to needs, and you'll see 49.4% yes, 50.52% no. So that is more for no than it is yes. And that may shock you that me as mayor is saying you're sharing that, but it's critical. It's feedback that we have to fix. Now, I would say, in my humble opinion, it's about a 50-50. That's about as close as you can get. Half say yes, half say no. Most of the people that did the survey do not live inside the city of Jasper. Less than 44% are my residents. Half of them say I respond to them, but they don't live in the city. The greatest example I give to this, and Julie and John, you guys are aware of this. The city embarked on a training facility opportunity on Cove Road. We heard back from multiple county residents negatively. Do not have shooting occurring on city property that the city owns in a remote location. Don't do it. Not a city resident spoke against it. All county residents. The city listened to the constituents of the county because you are our constituents. We care about you. We want your quality of life in the county to be positively impacted by what we do. So when we heard that feedback, we listened. We decided, hey, scrap that idea. We're not going to do it. So I want everyone to walk away knowing that your local governments are listening. It doesn't necessarily matter what your physical address where you lay your head down at night is. Because if you're a business owner, you may not live here. You are important to us. You matter to us. You are part of our community. Your input is needed. And you'll see outside Pickens County was 5.5%. It's a pretty low number. I would like for that number to come up a bit. I believe some of that may have been our business owners. But again, half the people that responded said, yeah, the city of Jasper's pretty good about being responsive. Less than 44% actually live and can vote for your elected officials in the city. So as a city, how do we reconcile the information we're giving? And really, I struggled with the first part as a city, because I think what people are going to take away from that is, well, as the government. No. What I mean is, as a community, as a city of people, how do we take the information that less than 44% were city residents? They wanted higher paying jobs, but the top desire was restaurants. Right? So we have to take that. So, Dave, what I hear is, hey, we want that new industry. We want those higher paying jobs. We also want those restaurants. So this group, the challenge is, what industry can we talk about today at our roundtables that we want to pull into our community? What's achievable for our community? And then what sit-down restaurants do we want to have call this home? At the bottom, we wanted affordable housing. But we do not want apartments and we do not want townhomes. Now that, my friends, is an issue. We have to reconcile that somehow as a community to recognize that Not everyone can afford the same type of housing. So I am really proud of our community, both at the county level and the city level, for what we're doing as far as housing. The county government takes a stance where they have their housing initiatives to be on estate-sized lots, which is really admirable. That's a wonderful thing to do with the way that they are set up in their geographic areas. In the city, we have our housing initiative set up to where we can have infill and density. So what you'll see and what you'll hear is, as a community, everything inside the county limits, we have the opportunity to have everything from an ADU at 800 square feet all the way up to the county level where it's an infant resort. So perception versus reality. We have higher capital investment during the last 5 years than any time at that rate in history. Main Street and 515 are busier than they have ever been. We have zoning in place to allow for the 800 square foot ADUs. So ADUs are the accessory dwelling units. Again, that's maximizing on what is that affordable housing? What does that look like? Is that ADU needed for an aging parent? Or is that needed for a college student who can't afford their own 3-2 on an acre of land? A level playing field with all transparent meetings. Our goal as a government is to make sure you have the opportunity to attend the meetings the first Monday every month, City Hall, 6 p.m. And public input has formally been implemented for the first time that we're aware of in city history. So I had a meeting with someone yesterday, a developer, and they said, well, I don't like what you just told me. How can I tell the city council? I said, hey, every first Monday, 6 p.m. City Hall. In the back of the room, there's a sign-up sheet. And Mr. Parrish took advantage of that recently. Anyone that has a city-related matter can come in, sign up, and as long as the agenda allows for the timing, up to 30 minutes, I can give you 3 minutes. And you can come in there and talk. So our goals and initiatives as a city are to be complementary of what our county partners are doing in reference to housing, in reference to economic vitality, and also to help with small businesses. The overall goal, do the right thing for the right reason. This, what you're doing today, is the right thing, and it's for the right reason. It's to help each other, it's to help yourselves. So I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to come and speak, and what I would ask, number one, if you don't have my contact information, it's listed here. Councilmember Hannah can also share his contact information. When you break out into these sessions for these categories, remember, it may not be a this or that, it could be both. We want the higher paying jobs. We want the sit-down restaurants. That wasn't a one or the other, that's both. We have to listen to our community and say, they want both, how do we do it? Affordable housing is going to be a tricky one. We want affordable housing. We don't want apartments and townhomes. So if you have questions about what the city's currently working on, feel free, tag one of us, come find us. The contact information is listed. Thank you for taking the time out of the day to be here. Hope I didn't take too much of your time. Mr. Dave, I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, once I gotta get plugged
Yeah.
back here. So the idea, we're gonna try to have balance between these 4 topics. If there's nobody interested in one of the topics, we may consolidate to 3, but the goal is to try to have some balance. I'm gonna try to we'll have some guidelines, some tips to help you moderate. We'd like one person to sort of be a table captain, one person to maybe another person to help take notes. There's pens and some small notepads. What we want to walk away from the roundtables are your top 3 ideas, your top 3 priorities. And the roundtable is going to help with accountability. So we don't just leave here talking about it. We're going to have the roundtable be sort of a peer group that you can take the initiative to try to advance and move forward, whatever topic that you want to be engaged with today. Does anybody, the way this is going to work again, you're a table captain. Whoever was the primary note taker, whoever's going to be your spokesperson is going to just stand up where you're at and share your takeaways with the group. So would anyone like to volunteer to go first? Okay, Dr. Keller.
We're the
Give
smaller
everybody your
group, so you
attention.
guys are all.
We'll try to keep it at 2 or 3 minutes.
So we are affordable workforce housing, and of course, we had some interesting discussions. And the 3 things that we came up with, first off, was we need to define the city population capacity, both current and future, in regards to what we're dealing with, what kind of an animal are we dealing with. And number 2 was a part of something that Kirk said, where the people were more interested in modernizing the infrastructure than they were of having capacity for new developments. So we've got to look at the infrastructure. We've got to fix the infrastructure that we have. And thirdly, we need to dictate sustainability to developers. Now, sustainability, usually what I mean, it means low water toilets and building materials, but there's a lot more to it. And we had a lively discussion in regards to what Kirk said about people want housing, but they don't want apartments. They don't want townhomes. And we had an opinion here that they wanted the small homes, but they wanted unique small homes and not attached housing, which may be the answer. But somehow we need to hold the developers' feet to the fire in regards to how you build it and how we go forward from here, because everybody knows that we got the water woes, but we need to make some changes before a lot of this stuff is implemented. I think the thing about having the discussion of what are we looking for in regards to our current population, future population, that's doable. Modernizing the infrastructure, we're working on it, but there's some other answers. And dictating sustainability to the developers, that's probably something that we're going to have to be exploring. How do we get the developers that will come into here and they will build what we want them to, as opposed to what they want to do?
All right, great job. Workforce housing, okay, any volunteers who wants to go next? Okay, Julia?
All right, so small businesses, and I noticed everybody at the other tables were laughing and having a good time, but we were very serious. So, one of the top issues, I think, is that most of the small businesses have expressed, or the ones represented here, have expressed that they're not aware of the wealth of services available to them in the community. And as Jeff brought up, there are tons of different organizations doing different things, and it can get confusing. But that's a good thing, because if you can't make it to 7:30, you can make it to 11:30. If you can't make 11:30, you can make it to 4:30 or something like that. So one thing I'm hoping that Dave and I can work on is maybe putting together a list for new businesses and for existing small businesses of what services are available from each organization that's here in the community for free resources for business owners. So that's number 1. Number 2, small businesses would like to know, especially the brick and mortars, if there are any kind of subsidies that can be discussed regarding new businesses coming, or some of the things that our larger businesses are offered when they come to the community that don't exist for our small business owners. So maybe some subsidies, and we have kind of a list of what some of those might be that businesses are struggling with to stay open, that small businesses are struggling with to stay open here in the community, especially as utilities go up and property taxes go up. There's really no relief for the small business. And the third thing is, it's twofold. Scholarships and grants. Are there scholarships and grants available to businesses, small businesses? I think Dave, you've got a tap on that. And making that information available and bringing investors to the table for the small businesses here. We really don't have a large availability of capital investors in some of these small businesses. And I think some of the small businesses, we've talked with our group at the Development Center for the University of Georgia, maybe getting a big roundtable together and learning what we can do to attract investors to small business and letting them hear what type of small businesses are either projected or would like to grow here in the community. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, great job. Retaining small businesses. Who would like to go next? All right, local attractions and tourism.
Yes, my name is Amy Myers, and I was selected as chair for this group. But I think we all are aware of some of the hurdles that we have in bringing tourists to, it's been the topic of conversation. There's some hurdles like parking and availability and business open hours, but what we were focusing on was the priorities. And our top one is developing an identity and an experience. That's something that would work towards drawing tourism. Our second one was awareness, making people aware, so advertising and signage and those types of things. And then our third one was Vered presented some information, super interesting, was pulling resources together to create a large-scale county-wide or a central focus of an agritourism project.
Nice job. Nice job. All right, but last but not least, quality jobs. Who's your spokesperson?
I'm the spokesperson.
All right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Leonard. I was voted to be the spokesperson for quality jobs. We identified a need for more, to have the quality jobs, a need for more skilled workers. And so we identified that to have skilled workers, you have to have quality job training opportunities. And so for us to be able to do those things, we identified 3 steps and how we can execute that. The first step is identifying the existing industries that we currently have here available for those quality jobs. So those industries could be everything from upholstery, textiles, which we just found out there's been some losses in that industry, but it's still a need here in the county. Healthcare is a huge need. As we know, we have a lot of healthcare needs here in our county. Tech as well is a need as we're growing and looking to grow as a county and the city of Jasper. Tech is going to be very important. So identifying the existing industries. And then secondly is identifying the existing infrastructures that we have. So we have, if we want quality jobs, we need quality training. So we need facilities to do that in. And so we can utilize, abandoned facilities that's around here, whether it's government owned or privately. How do we go about obtaining that and utilize that to develop the training centers and opportunities for people to find quality jobs? And so the next step, third step, will be the pipeline of talent, right? So we do that through the businesses, the current businesses and educational institutions. So those businesses that can attract those quality individuals, or the educational institutions such as the tech college that we have, or the high school and things of that nature. We could start presenting these quality job opportunities to our people, and then giving them the opportunity to get into these specific fields and careers and experience the opportunities that they have to have quality jobs. So that would eventually lead to jobs. So once you have a pipeline of talent, you have the existing businesses, the infrastructure, train them in. Those individuals, once they're done getting certified or trained in that field, they want a job to go to and get paid. So we're able to partner with local businesses and government institutions to be able to have a pipeline where those individuals can go if I have a job once they're done with that training. That would be very beneficial. And how do you go about getting those things? You need funds. So the same thing that was mentioned with subsidies and grants from local and state government. That can assist, and obviously businesses as well too. Some businesses who may have the profit margin to be able to, give a grant or to be able to fund someone's education in that particular field would be out for this month. So,
Awesome, great job. So now, how do we continue the conversation? How do we convert this talk into action? So a few things. I'm going to give a final plug. The Google Scholarship Program. We need to get 100 people certified in Pickens County. Go back, take your business. Yes, Judy.
No, I'll volunteer.
You want to volunteer? Okay. So, yeah, you can, everyone probably got an email. You can get a hold of me. I'll make sure you know how to get that program on board. And it's real easy. You're going to watch an orientation video, and there's a learning portal. And everyone here who has employees or teammates that wants to get Google certified, let's hit that goal so we can receive additional scholarships if we hit the first milestone. So we have about 7 or 8 more months to do that. The next thing, hopefully all of you met some maybe new folks today. You engaged with. You heard, maybe you're more empathetic to somebody else's opinion. Councilman Hannah is here. The mayor is very approachable. The chamber is here in force. They're very approachable. they can help facilitate this. So get in touch with your local community leaders. The SBDC is a volunteer group. We're recording this session intentionally. You know, I'm not gonna, your mug shot's not gonna be on a video in 3 months, but we wanna go back and make sure, you know, we've heard everyone and listened to be able to turn this into, you know, some action items. So maybe if you had one of your ideas, where can you find a subject matter expert to do a presentation for the chamber, to do a presentation for the SBDC? You know, where can we find somebody to talk about the housing, the affordable tiny home, or whatever was taken away from the group? How do we convert some of those tourism ideas, you know, and advance those? So let's make sure this doesn't, you know, fizzle. Let's continue the conversations, get contact information, follow folks on social media, get engaged, you know, become an advocate for your topic, you know, moving forward. So that's it. You can follow us. We do not have our next date lined up. We want to, you know, we wanted to kind of distill a lot of this. Mary is gracious enough, gave us
No Pickens, no Pickens.
yeah, no Pickens. She does amazing work. If you ever want your small business, if you have an organization where you want footage, Mary does unbelievable work. So we're going to work together to break down a lot of these topics into content and make sure you can follow us online. Okay, that's it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.